Finding the Voices talk show by Monica Iguodam.
I'm a huge fan of Finding the Voice.
You're doing a great job for Manipur.
Manipur bu prithivida masatak pa
good positive voices and make those voices more visible.
Wanted our voice to reach in all the corners of the world.
Interesting people.
Been finding
voices on
people from our own place.
Share positive stories and inspiring stories and bring out the good stories of Manipur.
Finding the Voices.
Welcome to Finding the Voices. Right now I'm in Imphal and I'm with Devkishore Soraisam, who is the founder of Mangal and a social entrepreneur from Manipur. Welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having here. Yes, sir.
To start with, can you give us a brief introduction and background about yourself?
Yes, hi. So my name is Devkishore and I am from Uripok in Imphal. And I did my basic schooling till 10th standard here in Manipur. And then I went to Chennai for my +1 and +2.
Okay.
And then did my Bachelor of Business Management in Christ College, Bangalore, where I was mostly an outstanding student, more of bunking than in class. Yeah. And then I spent 3 years after that in Bangalore, doing various things from volunteering to cycling to trekking and other stuff. And then I came back to Manipur after about 6 years and started my own firm here.
So how did you think about starting Mangal and the whole concept, and if you can tell a little bit in detail?
Yeah, so people expect to hear a very nice story like how someone came back to his roots to do something here. Yeah, now it's that case, but it happened more like an accident.
Okay.
It's a funny story actually. So when I came back here because of the reason that most people come back here. They had to come back because they were the only son and they have to take care of the parents and
so
things like that.
Are you the only son?
Yes, I'm the only son.
So
I had
that
to
is one of the factors also for you to come back
initially
to
when I came back. And I was into tourism sector earlier and I saw the potential. I thought that this has a huge, a gap here in tourism. So I said, since I have some expertise in Bangalore and around, so let me go back and explore the tourism potentials in the Northeast. So that was, when I came back, I thought I'll do tourism.
Okay.
But then there was a very different scenario here. Like infrastructure was a problem, and then again the law and order problem. And many of the clients that we used to deal with. So before that, I used to work in a company called Get Off Your Ass in Bangalore. Yeah. So it was not really a company. It was just a few of us who are into adventure tourism. So we used to plan off-bit adventure
trips
tours to Ladakh,
Bangalore.
South India.
Oh, okay. So it's based in Bangalore, but you would plan trips for other places inside of India.
Yes.
Okay.
And sometimes even Sri Lanka and other areas also. So we were basically planning tours around that. And I thought, since Northeast is again an unexplored territory, let me also go and explore my own backyard and see what I can do there. But that didn't really materialize.
Okay.
And then in between, a friend approached me saying, hey, let's start a small BPO here. We call it BPO for a lack of word, but it was more like 5 to 10 people who got some work from the States and was trying to do it
like
here.
Like a call center?
Not a call center, more like a backend data support. Yeah. So we used to
Okay.
upload data, validate, update it again, things like that.
Okay.
So I had 6 people under me and my friend who started that. So again, we ran into some problems there. Problems starting from, again, financially to power problems, to internet problems. So that
it
didn't
was
really
difficult to support your business with the infrastructure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that happened. And then now that friend is doing most of it in Guwahati, where he's based actually.
Oh, so he actually had to shift base from Manipur to Guwahati?
Yeah, so they're still in Imphal also.
Okay.
They have about 10 people here. But most of the work is now being done, I think, in Guwahati. So that's where it is. But then we split our ways, so I don't really know what they're up to now. So in between, I saw solar as a potential, and I thought I'll do something in the field of solar. So back then when I thought of it, I was thinking more like a small shop, like most people do, not like a
Okay.
proper organized firm. And what I saw again, so when I was in Bangalore, I used to be part of many of these events and work for NGOs and things like that. So I had some network there. So there was this company called Celco who was in the field for solar for about 20 years now.
Okay.
And they were saying, let's also train other people from other areas, and if they're building companies, let's mentor them. So they were like starting an incubation center basically. And Notice was one of their focus area. So one of my friends asked me saying, do you know of any entrepreneurs in Manipur who would want to apply for this and maybe take advantage of their mentoring and other support? Then I said, why not I myself apply for this, since I was like to do that anyway. So I applied for that and luckily got selected, and that's when it started. So that was around October of 2012.
2012.
Yeah, so we did a few site surveys around Manipur and things like that. And then finally in 2012 January, I formed a legal company and started properly full-time in this.
Okay. So what do you do?
So
If you can,
Mangal,
yeah.
what we do is we call ourselves a social enterprise. What we try to provide is we try to solve the energy access problem in the state of Manipur and hopefully down the line in other areas also in the region. So what we try to do is here, power is a huge problem. I mean, right now in Imphal and around, it has improved drastically, but
Right.
back when I started, it was a huge problem. Like our lives used to revolve around power. Like my mother will plan her day based on the number of hours she gets. Oh,
Right.
it'll come from 8 to 10, so I'll have to cook rice in the rice cooker from 8 to 10. So she'll prepare everything before 8, and people will plan to charge their mobile on time, do furniture works when there's power. So they'll plan accordingly. So their life used to revolve around the number of hours of power they get. And this was much worse in the rural areas. Right? And solar, again, unlike in other places of
So
India.
there are places in the rural area where even electricity has not reached,
Yes,
right?
yes, very much. In Manipur, yes, there are a lot of those areas. Now, in Manipur, what was happening was the awareness about solar was very good. Even in the remote areas, if you go, people will have seen solar, have heard of it, But unlike in places like UP or Bihar, if you go to rural areas, they will have to actually take a panel and battery and demonstrate. This is a solar panel, this
but
is
in
battery, how it
Manipur,
works.
the knowledge was high.
Yes, knowledge
they
was-
knew about it. Like
Yes,
when you
yes.
speak to them, they know what is it, the concept. and-
Exactly.
Okay.
But the bad thing about it was not proper information that they know that solar works. So it was not like a properly designed system. Like say, most of the systems in rural areas won't have a charge controller, which is a very basic requirement in that whole scheme of things, solar, things like that. So it was either like under design or over designed. So it's not designed for what they need.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes they buy a big panel just for lighting, which like they're paying way more than what they actually need to be paying. So the idea of a customized solution was not there.
Okay.
Like if I go to a bazaar and if I ask someone, like I want to buy a panel which can watch a TV, they will say, hey, go for this, this is okay. They won't ask you how big is a TV, how much power does it consume, and how many hours do you need it for. So that customized designing was not really there.
Okay.
So there was one problem that we aimed to solve with Mangal, like provide customized design based on actual needs. Again, second thing was, this problem is more severe in the rural areas, and solar is still considered a costly solution because here the payment is upfront for the system. Unlike in electricity where the payment is spread over monthly, so one full-time payment is difficult there again. So we said, why not we try to link with financial institutions like bank
Okay.
and provide financing. Like say you have now car loans and bike loans, because of which you see cars everywhere, bikes everywhere. We said, why can't it be the same for solar? Why can't there be solar loan? So there again, we learned from people who have actually done this in Karnataka and around, and said, let's try to replicate their model. Let's try to work with the banks here. And so it's basically, we provide customized solar solutions for energy problem, from household to livelihood issues to everything. And we also try to do financial linkages with banks, microfinance, and to some extent we ourselves are also lending now, starting to lend ourselves.
Okay.
Because banking system, it's a difficult ball game
Because
altogether.
they need a lot of documentation and the process is lengthy.
Yes, various factors. Again, those are also there. And in the rural areas, banking is not really, so not many people have bank accounts there. And if you say in Churchandpur, there'll be one branch in Lamka, it's a very big.
There are a lot of other
Yes,
villages
yes.
and
And
around
those
Lamka.
bank people will have 3 staff normally, so they can't really go to the very interior village where it takes 10 hours to go and do all those work there. So there's difficulty on their part also. And Manipur has never really been a banking system, so we depend more on Maroops than banking.
So what are the most popular solutions which you are providing to the village and other part in Manipur?
So far, most of the solutions we provided are solar home lighting systems. So this will be lighting for the home, like say 4 rooms and some lighting plus TV and a fan. So those were the very basic level.
So what is the average cost?
So cost
for an average household in Manipur?
So cost, say for a lighting system, only for lighting LED based, enough for 3 days autonomy. So it'll be about 18,000, including all battery panel and lights and coming there and installing the whole system for you. Will cost that.
So your company does the whole thing?
Exactly.
Once you get the customer and they agree,
exactly,
then you help them manage to take the loan,
yes,
finance and things like that, and then you have all the hardware and you have people going there and installing.
Exactly. So at the
risk
risk
what
of
about the maintenance?
So at the risk of something like we are selling a system, but I'll just explain a bit. So what we do normally, the sales cycle is, we see when a customer approaches us or when they hear about us, they say we want a solar system. First thing we ask is, why do you need that solar for? What's your users? What are the loads that you want to provide? And then based again, how much can you afford your budget? You know, you offer, say, some people say, can I power my washing machine and fridge and TV? And I say, that's a really bad idea. You can power it, but it'll cost lakhs. So don't go for it. Go for only lighting and maybe a TV and a fan if you want to go for other loads. Right? So we design
based on their needs.
Yes, needs and affordability also, and whether it makes financial sense or not for them. Even if they have the money, if they put in the money, if it's going to be a loss for them, because the life system of the battery is just 5 years, and if they don't get the positive payback, it's not worth upping the money. And so we speak to them on those level, and once that's decided, we kind of give them a quotation, say this is the system we suggest for you, and it's going to cost so much. Right? If they can pay it upfront, fine. If they cannot, then we explore options for finance through the bank or through our partner NGOs or microfinance. So we try to arrange all that and work out an arrangement. Once that is sorted, so we have technicians who actually goes to the customer's house and install everything properly. Right? And for all our system sold, we have a 1-year maintenance added to it. So in that 1 year, what? Free. Yeah, it's set, it's free, but technically the cost is included in the price also, because we are a business, so we can do it for free. Honestly saying, so the cost is included.
I mean, it's like a warranty that you say
exactly.
that we'll install it, but any problem within 1 year, we'll come and fix it.
Yes, so most of our systems actually come with 5-year warranty. But what we do is 1 year we say we give a maintenance maintenance contract is there for 1 year. So because battery needs to last a long time and battery needs management. So in that 1 year, what we hope to achieve is that. So first, what we do is we go there 2 times. After 6 months, our team will go check the battery water level, clean the panels, and clean the battery and check for everything. Yeah, and then again after 1 year, we go do the same drill. So and then we ask the customer. Now we have done it twice. They're supposed to be done at least twice or thrice a year. Now you know how it's done, but this is important and it needs to be done. Now our question to you is: do you want to do it yourself from the next year onwards? Or do you want us to do the same thing for the next year? So if you want to do us to do it, we have something called an annual maintenance contract, where you pay us a certain amount, we come to the same drill for you. Otherwise, now that you have seen us doing it, you can also do it on your own. But please make sure you do it, is what we do. So for maintenance.
So on an average, I mean, I know that there will be variance, but for 18,000, a household can have lighting system from the solar equipment what you have installed.
Yes.
And it would last like around 5 years is the warranty, but it may
warranty
be
for
more.
the years, battery, yes. So normally, so what we say is, please don't overuse this system, because we have designed it according to your needs. If you overuse system, the battery may not last longer. So the battery should ideally last for 7+ years. At least 7 years if it's maintained properly and if it's used as per the design specification. So when we say lighting for 4 rooms, we design it assuming that they will use it for about 5 hours per day when it's dark, to about say 9-10 when they eat and sleep. And we design it for 3 days autonomy. Say in case if there's rain today and it's not able to charge a battery, so if I use for 5 hours today, and the battery will go down about 30%. Next day again there's very cloudy weather, it can't charge it, it goes to 60%. So 3 days we design it for. So it should work for 3 days ideally. But they will normally use the battery for 30% up and down. So in which case The battery also lasts longer because of the user's pattern.
So where do you get all your equipments to be installed? Do you have tie-ups?
Yeah, so we do have tie-up with a few companies, but we are not a dealer or distributor of anyone specifically. The reason
so
why
you decide, I mean, you are not tied to any specific company.
Exactly. So the reason why we decide is we want to give the customers what is best at that time, based on service quality and cost also. Right? If we are tied to say XYZ company, we have to only push their product to the customers, and we really we don't want to do that. We want to choose the best product on behalf of our customers. So that's why.
Okay. So how many households have you catered to so far?
So households, home lighting systems will be about between 400 to 500 in this 3 years. And
which location?
Location mostly has been Imphal and around, and then in Churachandpur also, a huge one, because we have a branch in Churachandpur.
Okay, so there are a lot of other places which you still have to explore.
Exactly, yeah. So we started with Imphal and around, we expanded to Churachandpur, so we are thinking of expanding other districts now slowly.
Okay.
Monica, finding the voices.
Finding the voices.
Finding the voice.
I could see my father. Who came to meet my headmaster because he was unable to pay the fee. I'm sorry.
Because we need such story for people to have faith in the government and the system that yes, it's working.
Let's bring peace in our home state, Manipur.
Who have got the job without bribery, they will do justice to their job, and they will help raise the standard of Manipur.
Me machine creado. I adu paraga tingogi.
Now, adivine, Rako.
Can you share a little bit about the number of people you have employed and their skill sets, what you are looking for?
Okay, so as of now we have 10 people, so we are a 10 people team. As
including
of now.
You?
Yes, including me.
Okay.
And again, these are, so they are mainly into the operations at the ground level. So we have branch manager, technical guys who was in store, and some people who do sales and admin work. So they're what we have right now. And right now what we are also looking for is more experienced people to come in and kind of join the top management, if you can call it. Because myself also, I'm a first generation entrepreneur, and I don't have work experience earlier, especially in a startup. So I come with a very limited skill set now. If Mangal has to grow, more people has to come in.
More skilled people.
Exactly, more people has to come in. Yeah, because I lack a lot of skill, because of which we cannot grow as much as we can. So we need more people to come in and lead the team and go forward. So that's why we are lacking. And hiring in Manipur especially is a big challenge. What I thought earlier was, we have a lot of educated and unemployed people. We have a lot of people who are coming back home from outside after working there. So I assume that there'll be a lot of human resource here who will want to work. But then when we tried to hire, it was a totally different picture there again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you share a little detail, like what are the specific challenges you
So
have
first is that those people who apply will normally not match with the kind of people that I'm looking for. They either don't have the experience or the education or the know-how there. Now, experienced people who we need won't apply to us, because here private sector has been non-existent. Now we do have some presence, like you have the Classic Group and Scissor and few other names who are building that confidence, and people are now comfortable, slightly comfortable working in private sector. But even then, it's still a very bad scene
people
here.
still prefer government job and they are reluctant to join a private
all my
firm.
friends who come back here are still going for tuitions, coaching, and are giving government exams only. And one more reason why we as a small firm find it difficult to hire is because people don't have the trust in us that we'll go the long way.
That you will sustain.
Exactly. So if I join here, what's my future? Because the examples that I've seen are people start, few years they collapse and they go to something different. So there's not many companies here or businesses here who has been here for the long run. So that's also a difficulty which is against us, which makes it difficult. Initially we thought, is it the salary that we give? So we tried increasing the salary, even then also people didn't apply.
But your salary is in par with...
So it won't be par with the government.
Okay.
And but I would say we are very much, so here the private sector, especially schools and all, they pay peanuts for the work that they get. Honestly saying, and brutally or honestly, you'll see nurses getting 2,000-3,000 rupees per month, and in most cases they are made to pay 10,000, 15,000 when they get a job. Right? So that's a very different thing. But we have never taken donations or things like that, and we try to pay what they deserve. So right now, of course, we cannot pay what we want to pay, but what we can afford, we pay. Like,
but you still think that it's competitive as compared to other places in Manipur?
Yes, very competitive, I would say.
Okay, okay. So I want to know a little more again, like of the work culture for people you have recruited. Like, are you happy with it, or just wanted to get a sense of it?
So for the current set of team that I have, I've been lucky to have a very good team there. It's mostly because of them that we are where we are right now. But again, talking of the whole work culture here, it's still evolving and changing for better, but we have a long way to go. Like office proper timing.
So what is your timing for your office?
So timing, we say 9:30 to 5:30, or in winter change slightly. So we try to keep it as a corporate, saying 8 hours and 1 hour break like that. But that has never really worked. Okay. And we have not put in that much pressure also to enforce, because it's difficult, for everyone to do that. So again, ours is not a place where they work only when they're here, right? So sometimes a technician stays back and install till 6, 7 p.m. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So we are kind of lenient, but so again, we have a very good team here. They have changed over time, but the challenge is still there. I'm thinking about overall, and again, leap taking. Like today, I have this soap or
that's
wedding,
one question.
and
I think there are a lot of social events, and I think that impacts the work. Work balance.
Exactly. So we were just discussing about this at the wedding also yesterday.
So during wedding season, there'll be a lot of
earlier our elders had a lot of time, free time earlier, like when they were in government also there's not much work anyways. But that has to change. But that change is taking time, right? And here we have this obligation to go. There's an invite. If someone invites me for their wedding, I have to somehow go, make time and go. Otherwise, it's seen as like it's not a good thing.
Right. Socially, you will not be accepted if you are absent.
Exactly.
Like so people won't understand that you have work and it's a weekday.
If I am a government servant, and if I say I have work, it's okay. But if I am working in say a private firm here, and I say I have work, they see that as something different, or can't take out time of a few hours for your friends also like that. So that's a difficulty here. So, but that has to change for this whole sector to grow. That mindset has to totally change.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, we are competing with people, and here we work so few hours per day, and when we are competing with other people outside the state for the same work that we are doing, they are working more number of hours, and we are working like 2-3 hours lesser than them per day. How do you expect us to compete? So, in fact, we should be working more because we have to catch up. They are a long way ahead of us, and we have to catch up. But we are still slowing down, and they are going way ahead.
Okay, so even though you have set the time, as the corporate standard of 8 hours plus 1 hour break, is that really happening, or you average like 40 hours a week?
So I won't be able to give an average, but for us, more or less, it's kind of happening for now. So say most of the people here have been here for like 1+ years now. So we are a very transparent firm, and we are stuff. So everybody takes decisions here. Like, so when we are forming a leave policy, it's not like I enforce it on them. So we'll sit together and say, this is the case. How do you want to go for it? This is a difficulty that we have. So I'll say the same story with them, and they themselves decide on it. So since they were part of the decision-making process, they want to kind of keep that up.
And keep up with what they have agreed.
Exactly. Like say, we change our leave, number of holidays per day. I said, look, this is the last year record. This was for our holidays. But because of all the buns and other things, these are the number of days that we didn't work on. Right? How can we change that? So they came up and they reduce the list of holidays drastically. They cut down absent holidays, this and that. They cut down everything. They themselves come up with a very less number. Right.
So how is that? So that was my next question. How does the, the frequent bun and extended issues here affect your work?
It affects a lot. It affects very much.
Because especially during the ILP, it was a very extended
so I'll just say the ILP story, what happened here. So we were almost shut down for about close to 2 months. And you can imagine,
you could not even come to this office.
No, I stayed nearby, so I could come, but my people couldn't come and
you couldn't go out to install.
Yes, and
so
most of our work in the field,
kind of
kind of stalled down to almost zero. And again, so we have a lot of people coming from outside. Since we said we are being mentored by people from outside, right? So they also do come. So there's a joke now. If you're going to Imphal for some work, and if you have work for 2 days, go for 4 or 5 days. Take 2 or 3 days extra, because they've also faced that problem where they will plan and say, I'll go to Loktak and Choshanpur and this and that. They'll come from those specific days. There was a bun suddenly, they couldn't go. They'll just sit in the hotel for 3 days and go back. So those issues were there. And again, how it affects is, we are trying to get investment from outside, like equity investment, VC funds and all those. Now, for the investors, this is a very stable, unstable area, right? And nobody wants to put in their money or investment if the business, they know that it's not for sure. Like, you never know, because there are many factors outside which is in our control. Like, if there are factors in our control, we can work on it and try to improve on it and change things. Now, these are factors beyond our control, right? Now, if your business is affected so much by those factors outside your control, is it really safe to put in money to them? Can they really do the work?
Okay, so
like
you
say
have
during
that
the
problem
ILP,
of people investing
exactly, and during the ILP problem, what happened was, like say, for 2 years almost it was down, and then we have a branch, 2 months, and then we have a branch in Choshanpur. So,
and then
after that, the
Choshanpur picked up. So again, that part was affected.
Yes. So during the issue in Imphal, our branch was functioning and kind of doing like some sales, so we're not suffering very much there. After Imphal, Choshanpur again suffered, they went down again. After that, so after those 4 months, 2 months in Choshanpur, 2 months here, what happened was, we thought we'll pick up now, but when we went to the customers, they said, hey, we haven't opened our store for 2 months, we don't have any money to buy. Right? So it's still dragging on. So the effect of those few months of shutdown, people in the villages, they still don't have income and money in their hand, because they couldn't do their livelihood activities. So it's a much longer problem than those.
Because they wanted to install it, they ordered for it, but they couldn't come up with the money because of all that. So it's like it's affecting everybody.
Yes, so we had to also change our financing. So normally when we finance, we say give us this much margin money, 10% first, and the remaining over installments. After this, they said we don't have any money to give that 10% margin also. So we said let's try to change something and work around that also. So yeah, it does affect a lot. And again, supply chain is an issue. Material coming in through Guwahati. Till Guwahati, transportation of goods is not a problem. Beyond Guwahati, yeah, it's a problem. So there are no organized transport where you can track your goods. You can't plan things around them. It's not dependable. You cannot really plan properly and execute things.
So do you sometimes, seeing all this problem, how difficult it is for your company to sustain? Because you still have to pay the salary for your employee.
Exactly. So in fact, what I did was, even during the ILP thing, I paid full salary to my staff, because I said these are not their fault. It's not like they didn't want to come to the office. So that again, so our fixed cost, salary and rent, everything was going fully, but without any revenue coming in. So it was a very bad thing for us. So it's challenging, but then we are lucky to have some support from outside, like I said, like a mentor, and sometimes they do help out financially also, because they know that this is a difficult area to work in. So they do help out there. So we have a mentor, we have some support coming in from industry and friends, understandable. So that's how we are
Outside of Manipur.
outside of Manipur. Yes.
Okay, and that's how you are able to sustain.
Yes, but right now, I mean, so such a long Banno issue has not happened before since we started.
Yeah, this
now
was
that
the
we have
first
faced
time.
this one, so we are right now actually thinking on how we can prepare. Do we expand beyond Manipur to also have a base there, so that if there's something in Manipur, at least there's brands can sustain that. So we are thinking on those lines now, like should we expand and.
Please do it at Finding the Voices.